Hello and welcome to another Time Travel Fiction Tuesday with me, the author, Michael Campling. And without much further ado, I will launch straight into my reading of Trespass, a tale of time travel and ancient secrets. With the tagline, "Somewhere, sometime, the stone is waiting." Hope you're enjoying it so far. So Trespass, read by the author, Michael Campling. Chapter 5, 2010. I skirted around the edge of the pit floor, keeping the steep slope on my right. I didn't want to march through the middle of the quarry. It was too open, too exposed. And as I walked, I figured it out, how the car got there. The public footpath, the one I'd been walking along, had once been the road to the quarry. They'd tried to rename it River Walk, but everybody still called it Pit Lane. The place where I jumped over the fence, okay, the place I'd fallen, was the original entrance to the quarry. I could dimly remember an older fence, posts and barbed wire. Back then it would have been easy to break into the quarry. Someone had just driven the car in there and abandoned it. Joyriders, probably. I was a clever guy. I smiled up at the sunny slope of the quarry's sides, admired my new kingdom, and congratulated myself on finding this amazing place. And stopped. Over to my left, as the long grass moved in the breeze, a flash of bright red caught my eye. I looked back toward the car. It wasn't going anywhere. Why not look around on the way? But as I waded through the long grass, I slowed, frowned. I could make out the curve of red plastic, a bulky, vaguely familiar shape. And then a gust of wind parted the grass, and I saw them. Chemical drums, a clutch of them lying on their sides. Some had been smashed wide open, others were cracked and split. None of them were in one piece. Something fluttered in the breeze, a label, peeling, faded. It had once been bright orange, but the bold black symbols were still plain to see. A cross, a hand with a chunk missing. I felt the ground give a little beneath my feet. What had leaked from those drums? What was I standing on? Bloody hell! I wasn't waiting to find out. I backed away, turned, marched back to the path I'd made through the grass. I shook my head. No more exploring, I told myself. No more wandering off. I looked over to the car, wanted to see it, wanted to touch it, make it real. I wanted that photograph. I took up my phone, tried the camera. The car was no more than a blob from this distance. It could have been anything. Okay, I said, straight there and back. I put my phone back in my pocket. And on the way, find something to stand on. And I nodded. I'd be sensible and look where I was going. I'd be cautious. So when I came across the piece of mouldering carpet, laid out as if for a long-forgotten picnic, I didn't walk across it. Instead, I carefully lifted one corner with my toe, then kicked the carpet back. Nothing dangerous, just some old wooden fence posts quietly rotting. I almost laughed in relief. But then I saw the nails, long, thick, crooked, rusting nails, pointing upwards from the posts. I had a sickening vision of standing on the carpet, feeling a nail puncture the sole of my trainer, pierce my foot. I could picture it bursting out through the top of my shoe in slow motion, covered in blood. I shuddered. Who would leave something with the points upwards like that? And why cover them over with the carpet? It was almost like they'd done it on purpose, almost like... I had to say it out loud to believe it. Like a trap. And now, when I looked around me, I didn't see an inviting natural amphitheatre. I saw a threatening place. I saw a place where, just for once, the dangers that my dad had warned me about were real. My dad. I remembered something he'd once said. We were walking past the quarry, and I'd asked him if anyone ever went in. No, he'd said. No one who's supposed to. What do you mean? I'd said, but he'd just frowned, changed the subject. I'd asked him again and again, but he wouldn't tell me, and he wouldn't say why. Now a chill ran through me as I wondered what my dad had known. Who had been in the quarry, and why would they leave such a vicious trap? I ran my hands over my face, swore under my breath. I'd been careless, blundering. I'd been lucky to have escaped unhurt so far. I looked again at the car, squinted doubtfully all around. If I could see something to stand on, I'd grab it and turn back. I'd take it as a sign, and I'd take all the bad things that had happened to me, the stinking bog, the leaking chemical drums, the hidden nails, as signs that I should go no further, that I should go straight back to the fence and get the hell out of there. But there was nothing useful in sight, and that seemed like a sign. I should go on. Stick to the plan, I said. Now you know what to watch out for. Be careful. And cautiously, skirting around the carpet, picking my way through the long grass, I went on. You'll be okay, I said. You'll be okay. Chapter 6, 3500 BC. Berlick barely noticed the sounds of the village fading into the distance as he strode into the night. He thought only of Wiccan and revenge. Ahead, the path led into the forest, into darkness, into wind-creaked branches and shifting shadows, into the lair of the spirits, the shades. This is their time, Berlick thought. This is their forest. He should stop, turn back. He stumbled, tripping over his feet, but he did not slow his pace. Just you wait, Wiccan, he muttered. You can't stop me with your trickery now. Next to the path, the broad oak stood solid, unmoved by the breeze, and yet its shadow stirred. Berlick did not see. He blundered ahead, noticed nothing. Soon it would be too late. Beneath the tree, a man watched, waited. Clumsy and careless, he thought. This shouldn't be too difficult after all. He readied himself, waited. He had been waiting for a long time. Now he could hear Berlick's every breath. He tensed. His moment had almost come. A heartbeat, and then he pounced. There was barely a whisper of rushing air as he launched himself at Berlick. Even so, Berlick managed to turn to face the danger. His hand flashed to his knife, his knees bent, ready to fight. But it was not enough. Someone was on him, and Berlick was down, flat on his back, the breath crushed from his body. His assailant loomed over him, his weight pressing him down, pinning his arms to his sides. Berlick gritted his teeth, sucked in a breath, and strained to free his arms. But it was no use. There was no escape. You fool, he thought. How could you have been so stupid? Berlick glared at the silhouette of his attacker, bared his teeth. But the snarl died on his lips as the figure slowly leaned down toward his face and spoke. A single hissed word. Berlick! Berlick gasped. This man knew his name. But no one from the village would do this. Who then? Or what? He stopped struggling. A cold fear squirmed in his stomach. It was a shade. A shade was on him. He had trespassed in their forest, and they had caught him. And now they had his name. And if a shade spoke your name, you were lost. Berlick could feel his strength, his life draining away. Still the figure's face grew nearer. Berlick moaned. His stomach turned. And yet something was wrong. Something familiar, something he couldn't place. A smell, that was it. He could smell meat on its breath. The shades didn't eat, did they? So this was a man, an ordinary man, and he could be fought. Berlick clenched his teeth, gathered his courage. Who are you? The reply was whispered, urgent. Berlick, it's Tellen. Berlick choked back his astonishment. Tellen was Skimrian's younger brother. He had been beaten by his own brother-in-law. The voice continued. I'm going to let you go now, but first you must promise me something. You must promise that you won't fight me, and that you'll listen to what I have to say. Do you promise? Berlick did not reply. With a roar, he pushed himself up, toppling his attacker. Tellen rolled over, tried to scrabble to his knees, but in one movement Berlick was on him. One hand ground Tellen's face into the soil, the other pressed his knife against his throat. Now, he growled, I'll listen, and I hope you beg for mercy better than you fight. Chapter 7, 2010. The MG was British racing green, or had been once, but it didn't have wire wheels, didn't have any wheels. Both doors had been wrenched off. There were no headlights, no wing mirrors, no chrome trim. Even the radiator was gone. And as I approached this skeleton of a car, the remains of its windscreen and windows caught the light, a million angular pieces scattered among the grass. I sighed and shook my head, said, "Who would do such a thing?" Still, I had a photo to take. I knelt to get a good angle and fired off a couple of snaps. Then I stood and leaned against the bonnet, holding my phone at arm's length to take a photo of myself with the car in the background. It didn't come out too badly. I peered into the car's interior. The seats were slashed, but frankly, I was surprised they were still there. I wanted a shot of me sitting inside. I lowered myself onto the driving seat and held my phone out through the space where the windscreen had been. I was just about to take the shot when my phone vibrated and started ringing. I flipped it around to see the screen, hoping it was Matt, but the screen was going haywire. The background image was flickering like crazy. Random messages flashed up, then disappeared. Unknown number, no network, emergency calls only, no signal, no Wi-Fi. I jabbed and swiped hopelessly across the touchscreen, shouted the magic words, "Come on, you useless piece of junk!" And it stopped. The screen went blank. I stared at it for a second, then tried the power button. Nothing. "Oh, great," I said. "It's completely Hey!" A woman's voice ran through me like a knife. I jolted back against the car seat. I dropped my phone, heard it clatter into the footwell. "Jesus," I breathed. "Who the hell's that?" "Hey, where's everyone gone?" The voice came from somewhere above. It didn't sound like they'd seen me yet. I had to get out of there. I reached down, scrabbled for my phone. I couldn't find it. I pressed my face against the dashboard and reached further, groping through the rust and dirt. My fingers brushed against something smooth. That must be it. I grabbed for it. Yes. I sat up, hurriedly stuffing my phone back into my pocket while clambering awkwardly from the car. I looked up, hoping to see the coast was clear, hoping to see nothing but rocks and trees and trailing ivy. But instead, I saw her, and she, very clearly, had seen me. "Oh," she said, "who are you?" That's the end of chapter 7. Got through a few there because they were particularly short ones. Lots of short chapters in this book as it zips backwards and forwards through the storylines and through the timelines. I really hope you enjoyed it so far. I guess if you're listening to this episode, I must give you a huge thank you because you've probably listened to several now, and I hope they're kind of getting better as I go along. And I must go back and re-edit the sound of the earlier ones because they weren't edited at the time, but I am editing all these and being a bit more careful, hoping to get the levels and everything all good for you. So thank you very much for listening. If you could subscribe to wherever you're listening to this, that would be fantastic. Then you won't miss any. There are quite a few to get through before we get to the end. And then who knows if we get enough listeners, I should say, I can go on to the next book, and perhaps we'll even go all through the trilogy. Who knows? If you'd like to read along, you can look for Trespass by Michael Campling, ebook and libraries, and on Amazon, paperback should be available. You might have to order it. I've not really mentioned this before because I don't do this as a marketing thing. I do this because I just want to share it and hope people will enjoy listening to me reading it, because it's a bit different hearing an author, isn't it? I enjoy listening to authors read their work. And I'm not a professional narrator or anything, but, I give it a good shot. There is a free prequel, which you can get by signing up for my newsletter, which is the best place is michaelcampling.com/free books. And free books is all one word. And there's a free prequel called Breaking Ground as an ebook. Now, that might be quite fun. I could record that as an audiobook and give that as away as a freebie as well. And when you sign up to my newsletter, you do get, as well as a good newsletter, you get quite a few free ebooks. You get extra bonus stories to do that either kind of add into series that exist or are completely separate. They're standalone. There's some short science fiction, which you may be interested in. There's Breaking Ground, which is the prequel to Trespass. It was written afterwards, but it takes, in as much as a time travel novel takes place any time, it kind of takes place before. The hero is younger when we meet him. but you do also meet some of the characters from this book as well. From some of the characters from Trespass are in Breaking Ground, and it's a kind of a novella length, and it's it's a free download as an ebook. And there's also some audio stories. A couple of them are sort of horror type suspense stories. There's quite a bit of stuff there, so you can pick and choose. I think there are about 6 things, so you can pick and choose what you like. And thank you very much for listening. Especially huge thank you if you subscribed, if you share this, and even bigger thank you because it's always great to have a few more people listening. And I will leave you with those words, I think. Those words of thanks are very much heartfelt. Thanks for any encouragement and support. If you want to do comments, a good place is over at either on YouTube or at authormichaelcampling.substack.com. And in that case, Author Michael Campling is all one word. So I'll leave you to get on with your day, with whatever you're doing. Maybe you're washing up or driving to work or something. That's the great thing about podcasts. I love listening to podcasts. And fiction podcasts, I find them a bit few and far between. I hope you're enjoying this one. Take care, all the best, and I will read to you again soon. Bye.